Okay. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about weedy rice and herbicide failures that I've been seeing this year on field visits. So the weedy rice field experiment in Davis is in its 3rd year this year. We established it in 2018. We've got 4 biotypes. We only had found 4 at that point. We started the actual experiment in 2019. We have a conventional flood treatment, a crop rotation treatment, and a stale seed bed. This year is our 3rd year of the experiment, still going. We had some issues last year with geese in our field, and so we restarted the rotation this year. So again, we're doing our flood rotation, starting with rice again. And then we'll be doing the stale seed bed as well. And then next year we'll be going into sorghum. The field looks considerably better this year than last year, mostly because we didn't have a goose attack this year. This is the stale seed bed treatment. I'll just remind everyone real quickly what that is. So the stale seed bed, basically we flush the field, let the weedy rice come up, spray it with glyphosate about a week or so after flushing the initial flush, and that should kill most of the weedy rice, but we're still looking at how much it kills. And then a couple days after that, we flood up the field and then seed into the flooded field. This year, because the rotation is the same as the continuous flood, I'm just going to show the continuous flood. So continuous flood is basically just comparing sort of a traditional rice system with a continuously flooded field, comparing how the weedy rice emerges and how it competes with the rice in a continuously flooded field. So we've been collecting emergence data, and we'll be collecting yield data at the end of the season as well. And we'll have a little bit more information, hopefully, to share with you guys at the winter grower meetings. So for weedy rice, we've been looking at some potential spot spray options. This is year 3, I think, of looking at spot spray herbicides, and so far we've not had one that we were able to actually get through the registration process. But we have another new option this year. Actually, we started working with it last year, called Suppress. There's field testing done last year in one type 3 field, and I'll show you guys some pictures in a moment. The efficacy was okay last year. It didn't completely kill the rice, the weedy rice. The application may have been slightly too close to heading, and some of the plants actually still headed. This year, we just tested again, and we did it in one field with multiple weedy rice types in the field. The efficacy this year appears good, and we applied it right before heading, so a little bit earlier than we did last year, and I'll show some photos in a moment. We're also doing some greenhouse testing this year, and it should be completed soon. And we'll have the data for the winter grower meetings as well. So this was Suppress in the field last year on a type 3 weedy rice. This is 1 week after spring. The plants looked very dead, but some of these heads actually still ended up producing what appeared to be viable seed. So this year we went a little bit earlier. This was 1 week after spraying, just last week actually. So we did 2 different spray timings basically to simulate a little bit more of an application in the field. So 2 different spray timings, 3 and 5 seconds with a backpack sprayer. And both timings actually appear to be doing pretty well controlling the weedy rice. There is, of course, a little bit of drift around the weedy rice plants themselves. Suppress is non-selective, so it will kill any rice, anything around it. But it looks good, and I think it's going to be hopefully a viable option. So just to clarify, if we can use Suppress right now, can we use it this year? Can we use it next year? So it is already registered to be used in rice in California. However, there is a caveat. The label does not allow for application into standing water. So at this moment in time, we still need to have some discussions about how we can use suppress and if we can use it legally to control weedy rice. So we're currently doing the data collection that I just showed you, and we'll be discussing this with Westbridge and California Rice Commission to see what options we have, and hopefully we're hoping we'll be able to use it next year. So yay to maybe have a viable option here. So some herbicide issues in the field. We've been seeing a considerable number of issues this year. Surprisingly, I thought it would be a better year than it was last year. And you guys can go ahead and take that poll as we go here. Oops. Oh, I don't know if I can hit it. I can't seem to advance. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the two major issues that I've been seeing this year are Springletop and watergrass. So I think this is fairly consistent with what I've been seeing the past couple of years as well. So watergrass here on the left, this is our one of our newer either biotypes or species, and we're collecting some more data on this hopefully this year. And then on the right, we've got our Springletop. So some of the issues I've been seeing with Springletop failures in particular, some of the common reasons are potential herbicide resistance, of course, but then some of the other major likely issues are the water not being held on the field, sometimes water being too deep, application timing, or application method. So a variety of different things going on. So, you know, it's easy to sometimes blame the herbicide, but often there's application issues going on. This was a field I visited that I strongly suspect is not related to resistance, just because of the pattern of the Springletop in the field. So just some reminders for folks to remember that application and how you apply the herbicide is just as important as the herbicide that you're using.
Hi, Whitney. This is Rachel. We're sharing the poll results, and it would be good if you could address the true and false answer, since there's a little bit of
confusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer to that is that there is not actually an herbicide currently registered for spot spraying as it stands. Okay, so the label is registered for use in rice, but because it's not labeled for use in flooded fields, we need to clarify a little bit further with the company and with registration, DPR and EPA, to make sure that we're following all rules. So we're going to work out some sort of either label amendment or clarification, and Roberta Fearved with the Rice Commission will be leading us on that. So currently, you still should not be using suppress for spot application in rice at this moment. Thank you. Okay, so the other big issue that I've been seeing is watergrass. So this was a field that I visited last year, and just taking a look at it, you can see the huge watergrass infestation. I mean, most of the field is watergrass. So this was the newer biotype or species, the one that we're not quite sure what it is yet. But the grower and PCA applied multiple herbicides, so multiple granular applications, multiple foliar applications, and this was what was left at the end of the season. So didn't look so great, and it was a very expensive program, obviously. This is the same field this year, and we decided to try something different, which was doing a pre-plant stale seed bed. So kind of like we're doing with the weedy rice. So we did a stale seed bed, or the grower and PCA did, before planting, using glyphosate, and then they followed up actually just with a foliar application. So they actually didn't do a granular at the beginning of the season. They did follow it up with a, I believe, propanol application a little bit later in the season. And the field, as you can see, is much cleaner. It looks actually pretty good compared to what it looked like the previous year. So generally just some things that I think are good to remember as we're talking about herbicides. So if you suspect herbicide resistance, please talk to either your farm advisor or PCA about seed collection at the end of the season for resistance testing. So Kasim's program at the experiment station is still taking seeds for herbicide resistance testing, and it's really important to know if you actually do have herbicide resistance, and if you don't, then what other sort of practices we need to follow to better use our herbicides. Make sure your water levels are correct for your applications. So keeping the water level deep is actually super important, especially for our granular applications at the beginning of the season, and then trying to move water onto and off of the field as quickly as possible. And I realize this isn't always completely feasible depending on your water situation, but it really does make a big difference in terms of control. So just leaving the water, off or on for a little bit too long in either direction causes different weeds to germinate. So again, water and managing water is really, really crucial to weed control. And then some general suggestions for watergrass. So what I've been kind of noticing is that, and this fits in with what we know about watergrass emergence, so make as many applications early in the season as you can. So pre-plant if you can, or right at day of seeding, but basically as close as you can to the beginning of the season with as many modes of action as possible. So a lot of us have watergrass that might be, even if it's not this new species or biotype, it's maybe herbicide resistant. And so one of the ways that we can overcome that is by making sure we're applying multiple modes of action. So that could be through tank mixes, that could be through sequential applications made close together, but basically trying to hit it with as many things as possible in a short period of time. If your field is very badly infested, then a stale seed bed, like the grower and PCA did this year, that might be an option, and it does work if done correctly. And then we're looking for seed collection this year to try to get a better handle on this watergrass problem. So if you do have fields that you think have bad infestation of watergrass, we'd like to collect seed from your field. So reach out to myself or Luis, and we'll come out and help you collect. And then for Springletop and flooded conditions, emergence period is very extended. So if you're applying one thing at the beginning of the season, say for example, Serrano, you're not likely to get full control for the entire season. So you, again, like one application at the beginning of the season, you're gonna have stuff that comes up later. Shallow water tends to increase emergence. Okay, so water loss also during the season can create opportunities for the plants to emerge. So one of the things I've seen about Springletop is that a lot of folks that have bad infestations were having water losses or shallow water during the season. And then the last thing, stale seed bed may be effective, but we don't have data on this particular species. And my guess is that it probably is not effective, just based on what we know preliminarily about Springletop emergence. So, and I think that is my last slide. All right, thank you. Okay,